Is my mic muted? Is my mic not muted now? Maybe my mic's not muted. I guess I should maybe check to see if this is all coming through the way it's supposed to. Because sometimes things don't work. We've learned that the hard way. That's an advert. There we go. All right, switching over here. Doing a little test. And it says we're live. Hey, audio's working. Cool. Actually, maybe we'll leave that running with the volume down. And cool. All right. Welcome. Welcome to Ask a Traffic Cop, where we go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. We do it Monday to Friday from 10 to 11, and it's all about you. It's all for you. Good morning, Tracy. We have a lot of regular viewers who jump into our chats because this is a live show. So, like I said, Ask a Traffic Cop, a place where you can talk about or get answers to your traffic police, traffic safety, questions about stuff and things. So, what is going to be different about today? You notice some background changes for the folks here on Instagram. I'll move out of the way so you can see what's going on. There's some stuff happening behind us. And that's because we're going to talk about some different signs as we go through the show. And I'll talk about it more in detail as we go through. But where's my piece of paper with my notes? Come on. I was walking around reading this piece of paper. There it is. There it is. I found it. All right. Oh, hold on. Wow. I love when, oh, no, I didn't want to select that. I wanted to mute that. Block from Restream. Yes, not the Aloha. Aloha is welcome. But the person who wants to sell me Google AdSense marketing business, not interested. So today, we're going to do some talking from about things from the Joy Smith Foundation. Joy Smith Foundation is specifically talking about sex trafficking and the issues surrounding it. That may not be what you think it is. The signs surrounding it are probably things you're not looking for, expecting. So we'll talk about those signs, in addition to all the traffic and police stuff we talk about all the time. So a little different because today is a day that we want to talk about. We want to talk about important things. And let's see here. We've got a bunch of folks. Oh, if you want to ask us questions, if you want to jump into the chat, do that by coming onto our various channels. Now, if you're on TikTok, I'm going to tell you today is going to be a little bit out of whack because my producer, my partner, CJ's out of the office. So taking things out of the chatter is going to be a little more difficult for me because I'm on my own. But if you come over to our YouTube channel, if you come over to our Facebook or LinkedIn Live or what else did I say? Oh, yeah, because we're currently on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, so and Instagram. But anywhere but Twitter works. And, of course, you can jump into our pages on Twitch. Let's see here. No, not Twitch. I meant Volley. Volley, yes, the Volley app. You can come onto our Volley app. But go to trafficcop.ca. It'll give you links to everything. Where am I trying to go? I'm going to go to Volley app. I want to open this up so I can play the magical, the mystical, really just any kind of voice messages I get, I can play them right into the show. Opening that up here. Cool. Okay, I can pull this out, shrink it down. What happened? Oh, yeah, that's what happened. All right, cool. I'll do the same thing for this one. I was trying to get some content done in advance of the show. And, of course, best laid plans, right? Let's see here. Open that up. Awesome. Okay, I don't need to see a big version of you, but I do need to see that. I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope that you're making plans to deal with the impending doom, the snow that is supposed to be coming, the storm. Yeah, it's supposed to be not so wonderful outside today, starting later on this afternoon, but we'll keep an eye out. If you're going to be out and about, if you have to drive, be careful, be safe. Slow down. All right, we do have some questions in Q&A. Because you can send us stuff. Is this from today? Is this from yesterday? 19 hours ago. This is possibly, yeah, this was stuff from yesterday, but they're not actually questions for today. I see Akela sending a volley, so we'll jump in there and have a look up. To everyone who's jumping into the chat, good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Really am glad to be here. Hey, it's the Canadian Show, and my wife, not together, but my wife is watching Leo Wife. Good morning to you. And hey from the Canadian Show. Why am I just reading when I could be doing this? My wife, Leo wife. And then there's the Canadian show. Canadian show is awesome. And apparently you were in Burlington last night, hanging out with another creator, talking about food. But there you go. Say, hey, it's going to become ha ha. We've got Chase, who says, are you allowed to request footage/notes from a traffic stop that isn't yours? I'm going to suggest that that's probably no. I actually don't know. I don't think you can. I mean, Freedom of Information Act requests come in, but I don't believe that you have any right to somebody else's traffic stop. I don't know, though. That would be a good question for the people at that Freedom, the FOI department. Okay. Shirley wants to know if handicap parking, which we actually say accessible parking, passes, means that you don't pay for public parking. So actually there is an exemption. If you have an accessible pass, you don't have to pay for parking on the street. You have, and with a 3-hour limit is normally in effect, you have a 24-hour limit, if I'm not mistaken. If Aaron comes in, we can revisit that later. So let's see here. I'm going to read to you. So, launching on National Human Trafficking Day, that's today, February 22nd, 2023. It is the 22nd, is it not? It is. I'm on time. I'm in the right place. The Trafficking Signs Initiative will show Canadians the common warning signs that someone may be at risk of being groomed and exploited. And this is an integrated campaign led by the Joy Smith Foundation, Canada's leading authority on the issue. And we're going to talk about this in a little while. I'm wearing the shirt. They sent me a shirt. Blocking the camera. You can't see that. Yeah. I'm wearing the shirt because I'm supporting. And behind me, you may notice a sign. And we'll just start with the first one. We'll start with the first one. I'm going to read a slide, then we're going to go into traffic questions. Okay. Here it is. Sudden interest in a man several years older. Everyday youth are lured and manipulated by skilled human traffickers into the sex trade. What starts as a seemingly innocent conversation online or in real life can quickly turn into something more sinister. It most often starts with an emotional relationship with an older male, but it could be a friend, girlfriend, or boyfriend. Today, grooming commonly begins with a relationship through social media. We see far too much of this. So many people who are hurt, who are exploited. There's a quote here, and it's from Jewel, a 15-year-old survivor. He was so nice to me. I thought he was around my age when I met him. He was in his 20s. He was cruel and sold me for sex. That's from Jewel. We'll go through some of these over the hour because there's 8 of them, and I want to talk about all of them. All right, we're gonna get back into traffic and stuff. Let's see here. Leo wife says that you can reach out to the Freedom of Information Act Department, but she doesn't believe that they will approve a request for somebody else's video. And that makes a lot of sense. So that's going back to the question. We're jumping around topics here. If you've got questions, we do answers. That's kind of our thing here. We talk about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff. And I should mention we are hiring right now. Yes, we are hiring police officers. We're hiring parking enforcement officers, special constables. We have administrative roles. We have all sorts of things. You know what? We can actually do a quick little look. Now, before we do this quick little look about what we're hiring, I want to talk about Division 0 enforcement team. Boy, we're gonna be all over the place today. Today is going to be it's always unscripted, but it's going to be a unique experience. Because what live stream isn't unique? It's always different. It's always special. We have to the 22nd of February. February? Never really think about all the pronunciation. Anyway, we have 52 Division and 53 Division. That's where our Division 0 enforcement team is going to be focusing their efforts today. Those are divisional, they're police divisions, and each division has its own boundaries, and within those boundaries are neighborhoods where real people work, live, and play. And they those include neighborhoods like Kensington, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside. And they're going to be out there augmenting the work already being done by the local officers, and they're looking for people who choose to behave unsafely on the roads. Specifically, they focus their efforts on the Big Four. The Big Four offenses are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. Those are the offenses that we know lead to serious injury and death on our roads. Simple as that. And when they get caught, they issue tickets, not hugs. So many people want a break. Everybody wants a deal. They get caught, but they didn't mean it. It's the first time ever they ever touched their phone. It's the first time ever they ever did anything wrong. Well, guess what? Yeah, you're going to get a ticket when you meet one of these officers. And rightfully so. When you're putting lives at risk, there should be no second chances. You knew before. If I remember correctly, and I could be mistaken, I believe that when someone's caught shoplifting, it's the 8th time generally that they've done it. Okay, that's when they got caught. So how many times have you sped before you got caught? And is that not already your freebie? You've gotten away with it up until now. All right. I want to bring up employment. Where's my employment link? Employment, neighborhood, data map. Oh boy, where? Okay, let's just, instead of doing this, I'm going to share with you my screen. /careers. Here we go. Hey, okay, now I can go over to this window. Too many windows. And I'm going to share it. Share screen. I'm going to share window. Here we go. Share. Nice. Okay. So we've got hey, do you recognize anybody in this screen? Anybody? Anybody in the middle? Anybody? So we have police constable. We have lateral hires. So if you're a police officer somewhere else and you want to become a police officer here, special constable, parking enforcement, communications operator. We have civilian roles. Let's have a look at those because a lot of people say, oh, you're hiring, but you're only hiring for police officers. No, we're hiring for all sorts of different people. And what do we have here? We have IT risk management. We have people strategy. These are okay. So people strategy and performance specialist, finance project specialist, solutions architect, intermediate technical analyst, UC infrastructure. I don't know what that means, and communication operator. So we don't currently have. Well, let's see. Let's go back. We also have special constable. Let's see if the openings are currently posted. Will it even show me? Do I see? No. I don't see it. You know what? You should spend some time looking at this. Not me. You should peruse it on your own time and see all the wonderful jobs. We're going to have some people from the employment unit come back and do a walkthrough. They've been asking to do it. We haven't had time to incorporate them, but we're going to have them on. We will have them talk about stuff and things. We've done it before, but now that we have a wide format screen, we can actually accommodate them. Okay. Happy pink shirt day for me. This is not a pink shirt. This is pink. Maybe it is pink. But we're talking about human trafficking. Yes. And the signs. So I'll change the sign behind me. Hey, it's a new sign. And here's the close-up of the sign. Yes. New clothing, jewelry, or gifts without having money. I read that through the paper. I'm actually impressed I was able to read that backwards. So let's see. What do they say about that? New clothing, jewelry, or gifts without having money. Predators often buy victims nice, expensive gifts such as designer watches, jewelry, and brand name clothing. And it often includes giving drugs and alcohol. They may also take targets on extravagant dates such as to fancy restaurants or sports games. Nancy, a 17-year-old survivor, says he bought me things that I'd never had before and that I couldn't afford. That all changed when I left my home and ran away with him. He sold me for sex and didn't give me any of the money. Yeah. Okay. Serious stuff. And as a father, I'm terrified of this concept. Someone who befriends you and then takes advantage of you. Things to think about. There's some interesting stats also. And we are going to talk about. It is Pink Shirt Day today too. Well, there you go. I didn't even know. I've been so focused on thinking about the show and the things we're doing here. I didn't realize it was the general Pink Day because isn't Pink Day's I thought a anti-bullying day, and this is a totally different level. We're talking about other things. So here's some interesting stats. 13 is the average age of entry into sex trafficking. 93% of victims are born in Canada. Youth are impacted from every income, location, race, and gender. And data shows that there's someone being trafficked within 1 kilometer of your home at all times. That is scary. Like, seriously scary. Okay. Let's have a look at what's going on here. Okay. So here's an employment question. Hey, Sean, if I were to apply to TPS, would they facilitate the continuation of my CVSA certification? Interesting question. We have we have people who go through the process here for CVSA and inspection. So we have a number of officers who just finished the course and do that. And we do have a CVSA team, so that may be something that you'd be able to do. Yeah, that's these commercial vehicles. Okay. But definitely, if I would focus on getting hired, and then it would be probably later on that you'd get to come back into the specialty unless you manage to come directly into traffic. All right, I don't know where to look first. Maybe I'll do it here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Actually, yeah, let me rearrange my windows. I'm making things work. Trying to make things work. Trying to figure it all out. Where's my chat window? Okay. Why do I need to? Hold on, I don't see the chat window. This is not working for me. There we go. Okay, I had to make it just wide enough to be able to see everything. I'm trying to get everything on one screen so I can look here and not there. And then I have far too many screens. All right, if you're watching and you're confused, it's okay, I am too. I am a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. But today, I'm wearing a different color shirt because I'm talking about human trafficking, and I guess we delve into bullying because it's Pink Shirt Day. And we're also taking questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. Why are we doing that? Well, we want to help you. We want to help you with your traffic and police questions because this is the Traffic Services channel, and I am a traffic cop. So it's called Ask a Traffic Cop because that's my thing. That's my jam. We also have a website, we have a podcast called TPS Traffic Jam because traffic's my jam and we jam about traffic. And I thought that was kind of cute, and we've stuck with it. We have stuck with it. Speaking of which, I can put the tally on. Yeah, we can put the ticker tape. Ticker tape will ticker. All right. We have a Killer Draconis who says, what is this? It's also Thinking Day, birthday of the founders of Scouting and Guiding. I did not know that. Very cool. Okay, let's scroll back and see what kind of questions we've been ignoring as things, because there are lots of folks watching, and I want to see what we got going on. What is this? With so many bad drivers out there, why does it seem that there's not enough enforcement? There's never enough enforcement. And I say that because no matter how much we do, there's always somebody else doing something wrong. We focus our efforts on the stuff that leads to serious injury and death, but if we want to focus on everything, we would probably have to stop every car every 5 minutes because people are continuously breaking the rules. And they're putting lives at risk. Pedestrian safety is an issue because we have folks who are not paying attention to vulnerable road users. They're hitting people who are on the sidewalk, crossing the streets, riding bikes, rollerblades. Like we're seeing people all the time in danger. So we want to reach out to the pedestrians and cyclists so they can be the safest they can be. And we want to really, really reach out to the drivers so not only they can be safe themselves, but to protect everybody else because those people in the cars and the trucks, even on motorcycles, motorcycles have 1 foot on each side of the line. They're vulnerable and they're road users, and when they come into contact with other people, they hurt them. So it doesn't matter what you're doing on the road. You got to be safe. We have, Tracy says, volley. Do I have a Tracy volley? Not in the Q&A. Let's see here. I'm only looking in the Q&A sections. If you're posting stuff elsewhere, I don't see it. Okay, Random has some stuff. We have a community. If you want to join our community, you can go to www.trafficcop.ca, and that is my list, my wonderful link tree of all sorts of stuff and things, and you can go there to get interesting information as well and links that are useful. You can also use it to link to all of our social media platforms. One of them says, ask me a question on volley. So if you do that, you'll get in and you'll ask questions and we'll answer them, and it's going to be amazing and magical and all that jazz. If you don't already follow us, please do. And if you would be so kind as to share this with everybody you know, that will just bring more people to the party, and more people is better. Well, actually, sometimes it's nice to have a small group because then we get to really concentrate on everybody's questions. We used to have 2,500 people in the room. Today we're having a slower day. It's good stuff. We get to focus on individuals. Okay. What is this? Okay. If you've got a question on the chat, because it's just me today, please throw a Q into the beginning of the line so I know it's a question for me as opposed to back and forth with other people. And then you have, is it Sakib? I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm going to give it a try. Biggest waste of tax dollar is his comment. And I'm assuming you mean live streaming on social media to answer traffic and police questions, but you might mean something else, and I don't know. But I'm going to speculate and assume that you just don't like the idea of police, being online, or maybe you don't like police at all. In any case, what we're doing is education, and education is important. It's possibly the biggest part of the traffic safety initiative, because if we don't teach people, then and they don't know, then that's a problem. We want to be able to prevent issues before they become more serious. And this is an opportunity to save you money on tickets, to ensure that you don't get your insurance out of whack, maybe prevent you from losing your license altogether, because we impart some knowledge. And where else do you get that knowledge? Where do you get access to a police officer for an hour a day where you can actually get your questions answered? I challenge you to be able to do that. Listen, you can drive into a police station and hope that the person behind the counter knows the answer to your question, because they may not. They may not be a traffic specialist. Hey, we have Randy, who just popped in with a question from YouTube. Okay, here's the question. We'll put it up on the screen. Good morning, Sean from London, Ontario, regarding poor drivers and not conveying laws. If an airline crew was as poor as our drivers, we would never fly as a passenger. There is no recurrent or remedial training required. You know what? There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not we should have people who or if people should be required to regularly recertify. And there's a good argument for it, because there are mistakes that are being made. For instance, making right turns on reds. It seems like I've been talking about it every day, but I cannot tell you how many people I see making right turns on reds without making stops. And when they do that, they're not only breaking the law, but they're looking to get someone severely injured. But it's also against the law. And everyone should know this. If you're going to drive a car, you should know that you have to stop at a red light, and only when it's safe to do so can you make the right turn. We have here, Sakib says, go fight crime. Sorry, buddy, can't do it. I am stuck behind the desk. I've been injured in a motorcycle collision on duty, and that is why I can't. So he really doubling down on, doesn't like the fact that we're here doing what we do here. But cool. I'm a media relations officer, so I relate via media. All right, let's see here. Frequent sleepovers at a friend's house. This is the next sign. A warning about potential sex trafficking or human trafficking. The problem. Okay, let's read the slide. It says here, frequent sleepovers at a friend's house. As part of being groomed, young girls and boys are encouraged to keep their activities secret. They often lie to cover up what they're doing and who they're seeing, often pushed to do it by the trafficker whom they believe to be their friend, boyfriend, or girlfriend. And there's a quote from Jessica, a 14-year-old survivor. I used to lie to my parents about where I was going. One night when my parents thought I was sleeping over at my friend's house, I went to a party with my boyfriend. He told me to have sex with his friends. I was so confused. I didn't want to. It was the first time he hit me. I was so scared of him, so I did. These are scary things as a parent, and considering the fact that this could be happening, according to the stats, this is happening with 1 kilometer of your home at all times. Like, it's happening everywhere. And we're talking about it today, and we should be talking about it all the time. Joy Smith Foundation, you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Is that Twitter? I don't know if that, TW could be Twitter. It's not TikTok, it has to be Twitter. At Joy Smith FDN, and hashtag trafficking signs. I'm going to be putting out some content on this later on today. I'd hoped to have some videos ready to publish, but it did not happen. So I'll be doing it later. Okay, what do we have here? Let's see here. Tracy, we got lots of comments coming in. Okay, hang on a sec. Let's make this better. As I scroll through to see if the spam is still happening. Yes, I'm moderating myself today. I don't see the issue anymore. Maybe they've gone away. Let's see here. Hey, so Fear the Beard wants to know what is being done to reduce vehicle thefts in the city. Well, we encourage people to make good choices and try and become a deterrent on their own. But we've seen there's a tremendous amount of theft of vehicles everywhere, not just in Toronto. Obviously, we have investigators that are working on whatever they can based on the evidence that's available. They're working and they're catching people. But what can you do to prevent your vehicle from being stolen? Park in a well-lit area, employ things like the club. Which is like I think when was originally out of popularity in the 90s. I don't know anybody who has one now. I used to have an alarm system in my car. Now every car has an alarm system. Of course, when they're defeating the alarms to get into your car, when they're defeating the key systems to get into your car, they're also defeating the alarm system. But they're a more advanced criminal than ever before, and if they really want your car, they're going to get it. This is why doing what you can to make your vehicle less attractive to theft. And I don't mean attractive like it's a nice car to make it less nice, because they're not just taking Ferraris, they're taking Honda Civics, they're taking everything, because some vehicles are being sold overseas and some vehicles are being used as crime vehicles. But to avoid relay thefts, you can use a Faraday bag or Faraday box to prevent your key from being cloned. You can put a remote hidden ignition kill. Some people are taking, like, for the lowest cost solution is to take out the fuel pump relay, pop the hood, pull it out. No one's taking your car. It's not so easy to put it back in if the hood's frozen, mind you. But these are good ideas that people are suggesting. Then there's the OBD2, ODB. I can't remember what it's called. I make Chase go nuts every time I refer to the acronym incorrectly. But I will continue to make the mistake because I just can't remember what it is. I'm going to put a sticky note with the right acronym. In any case, there's many steps that you can take to make it a less interesting target, but there's no way to solve it entirely. You may find that your vehicle was picked up by a tow truck if they really want it. Heck, if they really want it, they come into houses and take keys. There's really no perfect solution or answer that I can provide to you. If you're watching and you want to ask questions, please feel free to drop in. We're taking questions through TikTok, although slowly today. Normally I have CJ helping me out and putting questions on screen for me, but that's not working today because CJ's not here. So it's just me handling multiple platforms and trying to get your questions answered. We have YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram where questions can be asked. I have a question that's coming in through Instagram right now from Crystal, who says, good morning. Hopefully you drive safe and you're not getting this crap weather. I haven't seen the crap weather yet, so I'm not driving in it. It was clear and dry when I came into work this morning. We have Volley that gives you an opportunity to join our community and throw questions into the Q&A. And we have a Kayla who sent a message specifically there saying, let's start with a dad joke. Let's see here. I don't know if that dad joke is a dad joke I can share. So it's let's see here. Good, but if you're in the community, by all means read it. I'm just not going to read it online. Okay, Michael says, hey, you weren't supposed to. He said, good morning. I'm supposed to be in class for bus driver training, but the trainers are late, so came in to listen live for a little. Awesome. Braden says, good morning, Sean. I smoked cannabis 24 hours ago, but it's still in my blood. Will I get a DUI? It's about being impaired. So if you have a DUI if you have more than 0 and you're a learner, you're going to have a problem if it's still in your system and it shows up in a test. And if you're impaired by it, then absolutely you could be getting into a problem. It depends on how long. Everyone's going to be different. And I can't give you a time when you're going to be no longer impaired. You may have it may still be feeling the effects of it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Lots going on. Lots of windows. All right. Adam says, good morning, everybody. What we got here? Laura and Ben are having a conversation, scrolling, looking for cues, literally looking for the letter Q, so I know. Jerry L. wants to know, do I watch The Last of Us? Yes, and I'm caught up. I've watched all the episodes. I caught up last night. Man, it's a good show. Like, amazing show. Really enjoying it. I found out about it, and if the person who's watching who was standing outside of the Costco talking about it with his buddy. That's how when I first heard about it, and I've been watching it since. It's been amazing, just amazing. Badge Duty rocks. Yes, freshly seen. It says Badge Duty rocks. He is another Toronto police officer who talks about gangs and protecting oneself and getting people out of gangs. Just an amazing amount of work that he's doing. So badge duty is a channel to watch. Okay, another sign. Sudden change in style of dress or makeup. These are all from the Joy Smith Foundation, and we are talking about human trafficking. So those being groomed by traffickers often change the way they dress along with their makeup to please the person manipulating them. It's the suddenness of the change that is a sign that someone is having a powerful influence on them. Mother of a 16-year-old says this: I couldn't believe the change in my daughter. She never used to wear makeup. She even got her ears pierced. I had no idea that traffickers were grooming her until after she disappeared. Wow. Very... when you read the quotes, and they're real quotes, you try and put yourself in the place of the person writing it, like what they went through. It's just, it's heavy. But these are things, if this is happening all around us and we're not paying attention, pay attention to stop signs and yield signs, and pay attention to the signs in the communities, your friends, your family. You might be the person who intervenes and saves them. Who is paying for this podcast? That's STEM and Roots. Let's see here. So who's paying? Well, this is a live stream. This isn't a polished podcast. This is a police officer on duty as part of his normal day who is getting online to share information with you and the community. But who's paying for it? Toronto Police are paying for it. It is a part of what I do. I'm a media relations officer. I'm a social media officer. And we create content on a regular basis to answer traffic and police questions on the internet. I need some water. Okay. We've got... Oh, what happens if you get caught driving and you're 17 with no license? Well, you get charged for driving with no license, and you get charged. And then if you have no license, the Ministry of Transportation is amazing. They actually give you the opportunity to have your very own license number, even though it doesn't give you the authority to drive, because it stays with you. That record stays with you forever. And that's what happens. You get charged, and you can either pay it or not pay it. Now, you're also not allowed to drive away. The registered owner of the vehicle is going to get notified. If you happen to be the registered owner of the vehicle, you're probably going to find yourself with some additional charges. Also, there's no insurance on that vehicle. So if you wrecked it when you got caught driving without a license, your insurance company is not going to pay for it to be replaced. And then you may find also, if you're the owner or person in charge of the vehicle, permitting it to be used on the road, then you have the additional issue of that whole no insurance thing. If there's actually no insurance on it, that's a different area. It's $5,000 to $25,000 in fines and up to 6 months in jail. Not for the driving without a license. That's for the no insurance. I know what to do. Oh, STEM says taxpayers are paying for this. That's how that works. If I work for the police and the police is a government agency, and the police pay for it, and taxpayer money goes to paying for the police. So the taxpayers are paying for it, and they're getting the benefit of it. It's amazing how that works. Aaron, we got here. M says, might be helpful to note this isn't a podcast. This has been making the news lately. Oh yes, this is not. So there was something about another a company that was producing a podcast. Or is pod? I don't know if they are or they were. I don't know what tends to use. But the fact is that there's a company that charges people to make podcasts, and that is what the media discussion has been about. Not me, not us, not this. Let's see here. Oh, they're awesome. TPS needs to be hiring info security. I'd be happy to join the team. Adam, there are lots of IT positions that are regularly posted. So by all means, if you have an interest in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, whether it be as a civilian or as a uniformed officer, check out our website, www.tps.ca/careers. Everything you ever wanted to know about being a member of the Toronto Police Service is right there. Now, I started as a volunteer. My story is I started as a volunteer, and then I became a part-time court officer, and I did both of those things for a number of years. Actually, I took a break from courts, but I came back, and I did a total of 12 years in both roles, essentially, before I converted 2 uniforms into one and became a police officer. But I'm 23 years with the service, best move I've ever made in my life. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to work. I cannot complain. All right. What are we doing here? 10:30. Just bopping along. It's a very slow. We're doing a slow roll today. Okay. Actually, Ryan Pinn says, could be worse. Taxpayers could be paying for my disability check. At least you're being productive. Yeah, I never really took, after my collision, so for those who don't know, I was involved in an on-duty crash that took me off the road. I haven't been able to get back on the road. I'm not yet qualified to be on the road. So I'm an administrative only, and this all came about while I was looking for meaningful ways of contributing to the community and to policing. So, yeah. It's cool stuff. I like it. This has been very cool. Very awesome. Very cool. Very awesome. I don't know how many positives can I scramble into one statement. But yeah, if I just didn't go back to work, I guess I'd be getting paid anyway. But that's not the case. I'm here, and I like it. Let's see here. Okay. We talked about that. Okay. Can you become a police officer with no post-secondary education? And the answer is the minimum requirements are grade 12 education. However, it is a competitive position, and while some people get hired without it, other people, you could lose out to someone who has a degree. If you meet the requirements, apply. That is the biggest takeaway or suggestion, because many people will discount and suggest or make themselves believe that they won't get it, so they don't apply. And then what happens? Well, they don't get it. So definitely apply if you meet the minimum requirements and you're interested in joining, and let somebody else tell you yes or no. Don't count yourself out because you may have just given up an opportunity. All right. Scrolling for new questions. Talked about that. Em, you're on fire with responses here. Okay. What do we got? Braden says you get 2 tickets. I don't know. Oh, question, Adam. Is TPS doing anything to educate on AirTag issue or zip ties in hopes to prevent human trafficking? Well, the zip ties thing is apparently, everything I've seen on it suggests that it's not real. That nobody is putting zip ties in your car to suggest that you're a target. That's what I'm told. AirTag issue, I think, is a real issue in that people can put an AirTag in your pocket or in your bag or in your car and then know where you live. And that is a concern. So there's software that you can run on both Android and on, well, I think the iPhone automatically notifies you when an AirTag that is not yours is traveling with you. So pay attention to those things. Also, don't leave your stuff around that someone could put things in. Now, with the AirTag, there are modifications people are doing to AirTags that take out the beeper, because you will have an AirTag that will just start beeping to identify that it's a people if it's just hanging around after a certain time, being away from its own phone. You need to do some research. I need to do some research so I can talk about this more intelligently, because I know a little bit about it, but not enough to really give advice. Okay. Let's talk about this. A new circle of friends and isolation from their old group. This is the next sign. We're talking about human trafficking and sex trafficking because it is a growing problem in cities and towns across Canada. So when you have a new circle of friends in isolation from their old group, traffickers will try and separate youth from their support network, like friends and family. This can be both emotionally, such as making a girl or boy believe the trafficker is the only one who truly loves them and cares, or physically, such as asking the young person to take a trip with them, or even move in with them. The trafficker will also try to introduce the vulnerable girl or boy into their circle of friends who are usually other traffickers working together to gain trust. So a former trafficker has this quote: "We would talk to each other and tell each other how to get a girl. We knew how to do it. It was easy. I'm ashamed now. We destroyed many young lives." Wow. There's a lot of talk about this. Really, there's a lot of talk about this all over social media, but I don't hear about it enough locally. So I'm really glad that we're talking about it today, and hopefully this starts conversations that you can take home. The Joyce Smith Foundation, and you can go to their website, traffickingsigns.ca. I should put that on the screen. Yes, I should. Let's do that. Let's do that right now. I'm stalling because I'm typing. Okay, we're going to do Joy Smith. I should probably put a space there. I want to make it pretty. I should spell it correctly, too. Okay, secondary text is going to be, where did I move my thing? Traffickingsigns.ca. Did I do that right? Trafficking signs. I mean, should I put the dub there? Let's do it. Characters are free. Traffickingsigns.ca. Okay. All right, I like it. Yeah, this is conversations we have to have all the time. Absolutely. All right. I'll update my background. Another trafficking sign. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Let's circle back after doing, well, let's talk about some stuff. I seen a motorcycle on the 400 an hour ago. Really? I saw one yesterday in the parking lot. I guess they were trying to get some dry road enjoyment. But I think this is way too early. Well, I know it's way too early to have your bike out. Even though the roads have been dry for the last couple of days, there's salt and grime and it's just garbage all over the roads. And you could have a, who's calling me? Somebody's calling me. I can't answer them. Yeah, so you could be having all sorts of issues on the road with a motorcycle today. I can't answer the phone rings. I want to answer it. Can't answer it. Okay. Boom. John says, first chat I could join. Found you on Twitter. Glad I made it. Thanks for doing this. Well, it's my pleasure. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. I'm glad that you finally found us. The big issue for us is that we can't actually take questions from Twitter. It used to work. Like when we first started, this worked on Twitter, and it was awesome because we have so many people who watch us on Twitter. And of course, as we go, we have to continuously say, it doesn't. Maybe I should put a sign up in here. If you have Twitter, watch us on YouTube. That's pretty lame, but it is what we have to do. We have to ask people to come over to the other platforms. Otherwise, we can't hear from them, and we want to hear from everybody. Chris says, would you consider running for mayor of Toronto? I don't know if that's a job. I like being a cop. I'm a cop. Like that's all I've ever wanted to do. Mayor of Toronto never entered my mind. But thank you for the vote of confidence there that that I'd make a good one. I appreciate it. All right, what do we got here? We have our aftermarket lights that are labeled SAE and ECE legal to use on the road in Canada. When you say aftermarket lights, it really depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about headlights? If you're talking about fog lights, you're talking about off-road lights. Because some things are legal to have mounted, other things are legal to use. If you have more than 4 headlights creating more than 300 lumens of power, or candela, I should say, that is, you can't have more than 4. You can only project white or yellow to the front. So I'd have to look up specifics of what SAE and ECE are. I don't believe they're standards, but I don't know specifically where they fall on the product that you're talking about. So, like you can't have off-road light bars on your vehicle actually in the on position, like turned on and being functioning while you're driving. Boy, I'm having a problem with words today. All right, scrolling through. Why are some curbs so high should be illegal? Why are cars so low? Curbs. I'm not a road engineer. I don't know what the requirements are, but there are a lot that are really high, and I hear the scraping of vehicles as they go over them, and I cringe when I hear that because it's no nice. It's really not nice, but I don't know what the deal is. What do we have here? Why don't you wait outside of bars to catch impaired drivers? It's a great question. Sometimes we hang out in areas that are very popular for bars, and we pull people over when, like, we do ride programs, we do all sorts of things. The fact is we're looking for impaired drivers all the time. Truly hanging outside of bars, I don't know if we're focusing on one and not an area of them. I don't know if that's a good way to fish. But we are always looking for impaired drivers, and we're always finding impaired drivers. I think recertification should be every 5 years like CVOR. So recertification for driving ability, that could be interesting. And Tracy loves the username no ketchup in Big Mac sauce. Oh my God, love your username. I think that's true. I listen, that's a username you pay attention to. Okay. They're having conversations about diesel and charging. I don't know. I'm jumping into somebody else's conversation now. What if you're hungry and just trying to park at the restaurant and then boom, you hit? Like you get into a collision? And I don't know what the question is. Maybe somebody can explain to me what's going on in this conversation. T-Dot, don't break the law. Don't break the law anywhere. Or sorry, T-Dot's the username. Yeah. Okay, moving on. No cue, and I don't know what's a question or a general comment. Hello from Edmonton. How's it going? Hey, Edmonton. If you are watching and you don't know who I am, or if anyone out there is, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And then sometimes we talk about other stuff, and that's what we're doing today. We're talking about some other stuff which still falls into the policing realm. We're talking about human trafficking, sex trafficking. We're talking about a heavier topic today. I'm feeling it. It's really. I read these things and it's weighing heavy on me. It's an emotional burden, but it's good stuff to talk about. It's important stuff to talk about. We have. What do we do? Should we go? We have a call of support. Good morning, Sean. Ignore the trolls. You're doing a great job. Well, I thank you very much. I don't take it personally. I know there's lots of trolls. Actually, I think some of the trolls are just a great way to spark more conversation. So it's amazing. John Norris says, put GPS in every car and you can find them. Put GPS in every car. So GPS in every. I have an AirTag in my truck. I have. There's trackers you can buy that are cellular based. There's all sorts of ways of knowing where your stuff is. Problem is sometimes it's not fast enough, and it's on a cargo ship somewhere very quickly. But absolutely, there's lots of ways to do, and taking an active role in it. Some great technology that people are employing. Like there's now something you can get, so you punch in a combination to your keyboard, like to your steering wheel, in order to start the car. So even if you have the key, if you don't know the code, you can't go anywhere. Which is when they just get a tow truck, because if they want it, they want it. Let's see here. Question from Big Al. I need to contact someone for roadside safety issues, work-related. If it's construction work, what kind of work-related? Because we do have an office here that is the construction liaison, and they go look to see how things are being done across the city and ensure they're compliant with the book, with Book 7. To make sure that they're doing things properly. But it depends on what you're talking about. So feel free to email. You can send an email to, do I have a button for this? I think I do. Stand by. Traffic safety programs. I gotta have it. Here we go. Traffic safety programs at torontopolice.on.ca. Email us. Okay. But yeah, send an email there and we can forward it off to the right. Traffic services at torontopolice.on.ca also works, whichever one you prefer. We have. Take the battery out of your car and then you can't steal. It's true, but they can tow it. And yeah, so disconnecting battery, disconnecting fuel pump, removing relays, all hidden kill switches, all things are good. Sean Grant wants to know what division I'm from. I'm from Traffic Services. It says so behind me. Traffic Services, Toronto Police. We are the centralized traffic unit for the city of Toronto, and we're a huge unit because we have officers from that basically go over the entire city. We have some subunits that so people don't have to drive so far to get. To get out to the communities they're serving, but we are a citywide unit. Okay. Let's talk about this. Change in attitude towards school activity and friends. Another Joy Smith slide. A sign. So what is this sign? Well, as someone falls under the influence of a trafficker, they change their attitudes and behaviors towards things like school, favorite activities, and old friends. Traffickers lure children even when they are regularly going to school and living at home. And a soccer coach for 17U says, I had one of the most talented young women on my soccer team. She suddenly dropped out of everything. I learned later that a trafficker had gotten a hold of her. That's scary when everything that everything changes, because someone's messing with you, taking advantage. But this is where you have to pay attention to the people you care about. And even to the people you don't care about. Pay attention to what's going on around you. See what's going on. Because you might be the person who catches one of these signs and saves a life. Truly. Okay. John, getting slapped by legal, says, currently studying criminology and psychology at my local university, specializing in sexual offending. I definitely understand how these topics can wear heavy on you, Sean. I appreciate the comment. This stuff is important, but, my mind goes to the worst place ever because I'm a parent. So all this stuff gets filtered through the what ifs, what ifs. And I want to know this stuff. This is important to me. I want to pay attention to my kids, to our friends, to people that I know. Because after things have gone wrong, There's how do you come back? Where do you go? Everything you want to protect and prevent, but you also want to try and pull people out of this before it's too late or horrific things happen. Heavy stuff. All right. What do we have here? If cops track a stolen car AirTag to a shipping container, why do they still need a warrant to search? So, I don't know. I have to think about that. So it's one thing if it's in plain view. Like I've heard of people who go find their car, it's sitting in a parking lot because they put a cooling off period where they steal it, then tuck it somewhere. And then I've heard of people just stealing their car back. Well, it's not stealing. They put their car in drive it home because they have their own key. But when it's inside property, we still have to follow laws. It's not like we hear screaming on the inside and it's being able to imminent danger or saving a life. It's a vehicle, and we have to follow the rules, or otherwise I imagine it's that we can't charge them, and we'd also be breaking laws. So we have to do things by the book. There's books, and the good guys follow it, the bad guys don't, but we're still handcuffed by the fact that we have to follow the rules. I had to work through some of the logic of that. What kind of ticket do you get if your windshield is cracked? It could be unsafe vehicle. It could be driver's view obstructed. There's a couple. Okay. The Benjamin says that's exactly why we need to change the gun laws in this country to be able to defend ourselves. I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. As a person who's a gun person, I am trained as a police officer, and I trust myself with firearms. I don't think I trust everybody else with firearms. I think that can be very messy. And if you look at what's going on down south, as much as I appreciate that their laws allow it, I don't know how. Do you feel safe if everyone has a gun? I don't know. I mean, I imagine you do because you're saying that you would be for that, but it's an interesting conversation. I don't think that'll ever happen here, though. Johan Norris says, I've been misreading it. I apologize. I think it's Johan. Have you ever got a ticket, sir, for speeding? We all have. Absolutely. When I was younger, I got at least one, if not two, and I got a stop sign ticket that I recall. And I didn't get any after that because I learned my lesson. Okay. Question, I need a contact for someone. We talked about that. If you stone, don't drive, please take the bus. Yes. If you are impaired by drugs or alcohol, if you're super tired, if you don't feel well, if you aren't going to be able to operate your motor vehicle safely, then don't drive. It's simple as that. How many more slides do I have? I want to make sure I get through all of them. I think we got 1, 2, we have 3. Okay. I want to make sure we get through all of them. I'm not leaving until we get through all these slides. Let's see here. We talked about that. How do I report people with license plates that are so dark or dirty you can't read them? Well, you can certainly make a report online. tps.ca actually, no, the / changed when we went from torontopolice.on.ca to TPS. Go to tps.ca on the main website or on the main page. You can make reports about individual or specific vehicles. You can also make reports about neighborhood driving issues. Okay, let's hear from Chase. Well, interesting question. By the way, Chase just sent a message through Volley. This is a way you can send me video, voice, or text, and it's like this. You get to be the voice on the air. But the deal is that you can carry pepper spray for the purposes of dog repellent, or bear spray for bears. Like, you can't use it against people. We just don't have that option. If you do use it, you'd be charged, and then you'd be in a situation where you would be having to articulate why you used it, and you could be charged criminally or held responsible. You would be charged criminally, and then you'd be held responsible and have to articulate why you don't deserve to be convicted of it. It's a problem. People are entitled to use as much force as necessary to defend themselves. And this is, obviously I'm not a lawmaker, and it's outside of my purview, but it's an interesting conversation. Like, if you use a pencil as a weapon, it's a weapon. If you use it to defend yourself, could you be justified? Could you be, paying for a lawyer? The best thing to do is to disengage and run away. It sounds like the least tough thing to do, but it's the smartest thing to do. And I think the Canadian outlook is very, disengage and don't don't fight. Obviously, there's times when that's not possible, and you do what you have to do, and you deal with what happens afterwards. But it's not a fun situation in any which way. And if you add weapons to a conflict, if you give someone a weapon, chances are an untrained person is going to have that weapon taken from them and used against them. So if you have pepper spray, you might be wearing the pepper spray. You might be worse off than if you didn't have pepper spray in the first place. This is not an easy topic. There's no perfect answer. And but I like the conversation. I just don't know if I have the right answer for it. You couldn't hear? Oh, interesting. Big Jeff Fresh says they couldn't hear the question. I had this happen before. Why did that happen? Stand by. That's the chat channel. Oh, I know what happened. Hang on. I did this last time and I forgot. All right. Can you still hear me? Everybody on YouTube can still hear? I changed something and I don't know if I broke it. Can you still? Yes, I think so. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let me make sure I didn't. That's chat. And that this is going to be main stereo. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Oh, I gotta start that again. Did you guys hear that one? If you heard it, let me know. One day I will figure out all of these sliders. But did you hear the question this time? I know you hear me, but did you hear the cue of the question on volley? Still no? I don't understand. Stand by. That's weird. Okay, I don't want to mess around. I'll mess around with the stuff later. Really? That's so weird. So Mike, okay, hang on. That was playing. It should have been playing through main stereo. Routing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Oh, I think I do know what's going on. The mixed mind, I just changed too many things. We're doing tech support
Now, you said
here.
you don't trust people to carry firearms to defend themselves. Now, what's your opinion on pepper spray? Do you think there might be a case to allow people to carry that or no?
Does that work? Or are we still having problems? I will figure this out. If it's the last thing I do, but it's not going to happen today. All right, let's talk about grades are dropping. Yes. We got it working? See, okay, so before we go to grades are dropping, the reason I changed all the, I was playing the audio source from the same, anyway, I know what I did wrong now. It worked. Thank you for everyone who stuck through as we figured out how to make it work. So I have to write that down so I remember what it is next time. Grades are dropping. When a girl or boy is being groomed, their attention can easily and suddenly turn away from other things that might have been important to them, like school or grades. High school teacher is quoted as saying, "I couldn't believe the change in two of my students. They completely dropped their friends and their marks went from A's to failing. I eventually found out that they were in a gang and were selling themselves for sex." Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, you read these things, and the reality is that's reality. And we walk around with rose-colored glasses, assuming this happens to somebody else, and it happens to everybody, a lot of people. The stats are there saying it's. I read it earlier, but I'll say it again. 13 is the average age of entry into sex trafficking. 93% of victims are born in Canada. Youth are impacted from every income, location, race, and gender. And they say that data shows that there's someone being trafficked within 1 kilometer of your home at all times. That is insane. I want to get through, and I'm gonna read this one too. Unexplained cuts or bruises. I love these. I love these signs. They're like traffic signs, isn't it? Yeah. So traffickers frequently turn to physical violence to manipulate and maintain control. The telltale sign is on frequent cuts and bruises without an explanation. On top of physical violence, traffickers use ongoing threats of violence against the victim and their family to get the victims to do what they want. A mother of a 17-year-old is quoted as saying, "My daughter used to come home with bruises on her arms and neck. She would explain it by saying that she fell or something else happened in gym class. When she left home, I found out that those bruises came from her trafficker. We got her back, but she's never been the same." Someone's life being entirely entirely derailed by someone who's just using them is very scary. Akela says, I need a sound engineer to handle the buttons and sliders while you're on the air. Too much for the average person to handle on their own, but you're doing a great job. Thanks, Akela. You know what? So we've had a couple of changes recently in that we've gone this wide angle. And the wide angle is wonderful, but it is also the most complicated thing because in order to get all the questions, I need help. And sometimes I have that help, and sometimes I don't. And today I don't. But thank you for hanging out, and thank you for putting up with the less smooth version of the show, which is one where it's just me, myself, and I. Used to be able to do it, but I was on a cell phone, and I was focused on the cell phone, and now I'm trying to get multiple sources. Trying to make the best show we can for you. It's all we're about. It's bringing you the best content and answering your traffic and police questions. And let's see what else we got here. I want to try and find a couple of questions that are sitting waiting to be answered, and then we'll get into the last slide. Why don't your colleagues watch the show? My colleagues do watch the show. Actually, I can't tell you how many coppers I never met that I run into, and they're like, "We love your TikTok," or we are like, it's the unofficial training ground for traffic, because traffic is this thing that's really important, but very often isn't focused on because we're so busy running on call to call to call, trying to respond to 911 or 911 calls, or dealing with what's going on. That is also important. But because there's less focus on traffic, some people don't get to study it, so they watch TikTok, and I get to re-up all their skills because things change, right? Changes happen. It's not the traffic laws have constantly changed. That's one of the reasons this is so important. Changes about licensing, changes about graduated licensing, things, especially during the pandemic. We were putting out news that people just didn't have any other access to or know about. So it's good stuff, and lots of cops watching it. And that are positive about it. Positive about it, yes. What am I reading here? Okay, we're having conversations about self-defense now. That's happening. Is it possible to become a cop with a civil offense? Like a criminal offense? I don't know what a civil offense is. Like if you have a ticket, is a provincial offense. What do you mean by civil offense? So if you have a minor record when you were a kid, yeah, it might be able to still become a police officer. If you have a criminal record that suggests you were not playing for the good guys, that's going to be a problem. You're likely not going to be. Heck, even if you have a bad driving record, you're probably not going to be able to get on the job, because we can't give you a responsibility of enforcing laws that you clearly have no respect for. Okay. Let's see here. Chase says, I think the best thing to stop lots of gun or gang crime is not crazy new laws, but prevention at a young age. Yeah, listen, developing relationships in a good way is absolutely what we try and do, outreach. Absolutely. Chase went to TPS headquarters yesterday, and he has to tell us that he loves the TPS Moose. I was at TPS headquarters yesterday. Chase, were you following me? I went there because I got my new phone. My work phone was life cycled, so we replace old technology and make sure we're still, we get new stuff occasionally. So I got a new one. Everyone else had a new one. I had an iPhone 11, which is still newish, and it worked, but it was aging. Okay. What forms of proof of insurance are police accepting? Screenshots on phones? Aha, okay. So this is from our insurance guy. The rules are that you can provide an electronic insurance slip, which means it's through an app. So if your insurance provider supports it, they can show that screenshot, and you have to be able to send it to police. A photo of a pink card is not sufficient. When you're pulled over by police, you must surrender your driver's license, your proof of insurance, and your registration upon demand for reasonable inspection. So the only thing that you can do electronically is that insurance card, and it has to be, again, through an approved app from the provider. Is it common practice to deal with veterans with a veteran plate less harshly during a stop? Sean Grant wants to know. You know what? That's going to be up to the officer in their own interpretations of things. Do you give veterans a break? I think you treat everybody the same. If I was going to give a veteran a break or I was going to give a individual a break, it's because they're getting a break, not because they did something differently. If they're putting lives at risk with their behavior, they're getting a ticket regardless. Minor stuff is minor. Major stuff is major, and the minor stuff is easy to say. Here's a warning. The major stuff, there's no excuse for it. And I say, like, we're talking like speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving. There's no warnings for that. Let's see. Scrolling down. What is this? Question. Not diminishing the seriousness of a call or traffic stop. Is it fun tossing on the lights and sirens? Sure it is. It's also can be extremely scary because when you're going lights and sirens to a call, you're responsible for everything. If I crash, if I go through an intersection and cause a collision, I'm responsible. So it's not something to just do for fun. It was thrilling the first time, and you know what you learn? A couple of things you look forward to. My whole life, I wanted a badge. I wanted to be able to be in uniform and go out and help people, but I wanted that badge in my wallet, and I wanted to go, drive fast and use the lights. And I can tell you that the two things that I do the least is to pull out my badge and drive fast with the lights on. It just doesn't happen. It's not the movies. Let's see. Okay, we have here. What is this? Someone says, it's funny that you say that, but then lots of police don't respect any of the rules. Don't know what Jared was commenting on. Okay. Oh, someone says 12 can't stop anything. 12 being a reference to police, I guess, from the Adam 12. Police don't stop things. We usually go after bad things that have already happened. We try and prevent through education and by maintaining a presence, but we can't stop things. We can't just unilaterally stop things. But we do change things once we get there and once we catch people, because we do catch people. We're pretty good at that. Mr. Nice Guy says, this officer completely skipped my question regarding home intruders. Good job. Didn't see it. He says there's lots of people with minor previous criminal records can sometimes get through if they've shown that they've changed, if it was minor but not current. You can't. I don't know where you are. You might be in another country where maybe you can be a police officer, but I don't think that's the case. Mr. Nice Guy was being schooled. You are not the only user in chat. Thanks, Ketchup. It's a little busy and I'm alone, so I missed a lot of stuff. And I apologize if you didn't get your question answered. There's a lot of folks who don't get their questions answered. It's not me ignoring you. It's simply trying to keep up to a constantly flooding chat room, which is not easy to maintain. Okay. How do you treat Americans? Because some states allow you to have a license on your iPhone. So if you are issued that document electronically, and it's an official, it's not a photo of it, but if that's your official sanctioned license, then we would accept it. But an Ontario license is not going to be accepted on your phone because there is no electronic version of that yet. So Tracy, actually, in NV 1775's situation, they would be, because that's their authorized license. That's their actual license. And Sean says he's being pulled over to merely, it's going to be the individual officer. That's going back to special treatment for people who are veterans. But if you're causing a problem, putting lives at risk, just because you're a veteran, as much as I respect people who serve, I wouldn't give you a break. Not for doing something that's going to put someone's life in danger. Here, ask a traffic cop. What do you do when there's a home intruder? There's a home intruder. What do you do? So you want to protect your family. You want to lock yourself somewhere. You want to call police and give them updates and tell them there's someone in your home and where you are in the home, and then you hunker down, because going and trying to attack a home intruder who may be armed with something like a firearm could get you killed. So that's a bad recipe. Hide, lock down, call police. That's the best case scenario. Okay. No Ketchup says yes. Usually I have a helper. Today I don't. We have some people walking by who are now live on the internet, not realizing that their voices carry. Let's see here. Is it illegal to install a turbo? No, you can modify your car and add performance enhancements. Turbos are one of them. You can buy a turbo car. You can add a turbo. You still have to be compliant to the laws in regards to exhaust and emissions, but they can be added. Okay. All right. How come auto theft has rise so much in Toronto? I'm guessing because people like to steal things because they want money. I don't know. I can't speculate. I'm speculating when I say that. But criminals be criminals, and they're getting better at it. And technologies they found their niche, how to steal cars. I don't know why there's been the recent uptick. I imagine because people need more money. Okay. Is 45-year-old too old to become a cop? No. 45 is not too old. 52 was the oldest person in my class when I became an officer, but that doesn't mean that they were too old either. Like, it's 45 is fine. If you want to do it, you can pass the test. Come on down. And Ketchup says TPS hired 50 plus before, as long as you can pass the medical and fitness testing. Absolutely. Talk to recruiters. Also, absolutely. What do we have here? Can you be a police officer if you're colorblind? No. Proper color acuity is a requirement, but you can be a special constable. As far as I know, you can be a parking enforcement officer. You can do other jobs within the service, just not a police officer. Okay. We're scrolling down. We're coming to the end. We're caught up. I think we're caught up. Okay. This is from the Joy Smith Foundation. And signs of sex trafficking or human trafficking. And this one says using 2 cell phones. So as part of being groomed, youth sometimes receive a separate cell phone to use just with the person manipulating them. This fosters a secret and intimate connection between them. It's also a way to hide from law enforcement and the victim's family and friends. So grade A teacher says, in my classes this year, a couple of girls had 2 cell phones. I wondered why. I found out later that they were being trafficked while they lived at home. I wish that I had asked more questions. How? Grade 8? Grade 8. That's, we're talking like 13 years old. Yeah. I put it up on the screen earlier. Now I'm going to do it again. As I scroll to the top of there we go. Traffickingsigns.ca. Just because I'm floored by this. The realities are staggering. 13 is the average age of entry into sex trafficking. 93% of victims are born in Canada. Youth are impacted from every income, location, race, and gender. And data shows that there's someone being trafficked within 1 kilometer of your home at all times. It's amazing. And it's amazing in the most horrifying way. I'm done. I got to do other stuff. I got to go. And today's been a very weird show because I'm really impacted by these signs, and I want you to be too. I mean, watch the people, be involved with the people you love and care about, and look for these signs. Check out the website traffickingsigns.ca. Learn about it because you can make a difference in someone's life, whether they're people you go to school with or people that you know closely. Pay attention. And I'll be back tomorrow after I recover from all this happy talk. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. till 11 a.m., doing it all again tomorrow with hopefully with backup. Hopefully with backup. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe in the possibly not great weather. And we will be here tomorrow to do it all again. Until then, have a wonderful, safe day.